Who do you spend your time with, man? How's that working out? Are you with the right people or are you with the comfortable people? Brothers, welcome back to another episode of the Rising Kings podcast. My name is Ben Salkeld. I'm the founder and the director of the Rising Kings men's movement. Now, for those that are viewing this, you might see it's a slightly different setup here today. So I'm pretty excited to be in this newly formed studio, so to speak, and sharing what I'm about to share with you guys. But let's rip into this this topic I want to share with you today. You see, I'm 46 years old. I began my deeper investigation into how to operate as my highest best self when I was around 32. Is kind of when my awakening moment occurred. And I remember distinctly back then, for years, years, I bounced from group to group, looking for my tribe, looking for a group of men who inspired me, empowered me, supported me in order to be the best possible version of myself. Now, that's not just in fitness and health. I'm talking around in my marriage, the way I show up for my kids, the way I show up in business, my mindset, all these bits and pieces. And what I found out was that most of these tribes, these groups, etc., that I jumped in on weren't serving for me. Now, that's not to say that there's not enough out there for every man to find his tribe. What I want to get across today is just how important it is to make sure you are surrounded by the right people, to make sure that when you're in a group, when you're in a tribe, when you're in some form of men's group or men's movement, that you've got to make sure that it's not just whatever the programming is that they're selling you. You've got to make sure that you're surrounded by similar people who are on a similar path, who desire to get to that upper echelon, that upper level in terms of their potential, in terms of how they show up, in terms of how they push themselves to become their best possible self. And the reason this came to me this week is, I do a lot of research. I try to understand, where various types of men are at, what's actually going on. I'm also looking into, the marketing research around what are the other groups, et cetera, out there. And I can see a pretty common pattern. And this goes back to my own way that I played this game as well, is that I used to think I had a marriage problem. Like, why are we always arguing? Why aren't things working with chosen one, etc.? How do I fix this? And so, I'd see ads with guys that were promoting programs for, hey man, if you're about to lose your wife or it's not working, etc., come be part of this. Like, come and I'll fucking help you out. And I remember jumping into a lot of these, and the problem wasn't the mechanic and what they taught inside. The problem was the people and the men I was surrounding myself with, is because everyone was having fucking problems in their marriage, and the whole conversation around it was fucking not good. It was, why isn't this working? Why is she doing this? Why that? Like pointing the blame, etc. around it. But it just left me feeling like, fuck, dude, what am I doing here? Same with when it came to fitness. Like, I was like, oh man, I really want to elevate my fitness game. And again, you see a lot of ads out there promoting, hey man, we'll help you lose 10 kilos, all those sorts of things. I was looking to evolve my fitness. Like, I wanted to just fucking go bigger, faster, stronger, healthier. In terms of mid-30s, how do you really extrapolate the best out of yourself physically for the next 10 years plus? But again, same thing. I would invest money, time, effort, and energy into these programs. But the big problem was I was surrounded with men who just weren't operating at the level I wanted to operate at. And that's when things took a turn for me. That's when I was like, where's my tribe? And as I dug in on it, like the question I had to answer was, well, fuck, Ben, like, what should your tribe consist of? Like, what are you actually looking for? And I think this is a really important element for you as the listener. If you're not part of a group, a tribe, etc., you would be by default, like whether that's guys you train with, whether they're your friend circle from high school, university, people you hang out with from work, etc. Like there's default groups that we're spending a lot of time with. Then there's the ones that we want to invest in, the ones that think, act, and feel differently to our current tribes that we're spending time with. And that led me down the course of understanding, well, what is important, Ben? What do you actually want? Like, what are you looking for in order to surround yourself with the right type of people that are going to enable you to operate at your best? And through that whole process is how Rising Kings really became to be, is because I wanted and I needed a tribe of men who were willing to play a higher game in terms of their standards, play a higher game in terms of their performance, physically, mentally, emotionally, who prioritized and knew the value and high importance of being a family man, like being there for their chosen one, being there for their kids, that this is a duty of a man, not just, fuck, I've got kids, I've got to deal with it. It's like, how do you become the best possible father? And not only that, how do I not just, hey man, my marriage isn't working, it's too fucking hard, etc. Letting that just fall to pieces, to actually, dude, what's your part in this, Ben? What's your responsibility? And not only that, but bringing all this in together to be able to create a tribe of men who aren't stuck just talking and thinking about the past. Like a big thing here inside Rising Kings is we educate on, hey man, it's worth doing some investigation around why you might think like that or why you might operate like that. But you don't just sit in there and keep asking why, and why did I do that? And why does that still, it's like, dude, once we've got a little bit of knowledge and an understanding around it, it's really looking at the future. Like, who do you want to actually be? What does that individual look like? What are his thoughts, his feelings, his actions that this man would take? And so all of a sudden, we've got this really good tribe of discussion that talks about the higher entity and not wallowing in the past and trying to, go back and live in the past to fix the future. It's like, dude, we can change the future as of now if you're committed to it. And that's what I love about the work that I do, the work that we do here in Rising Kings, is just surrounding yourself with men who are very inspirational, driven. I'm not saying that we've got everything dialed in. However, we don't come to the table bitching and moaning and complaining about our life. We actually come to the table with, dude, this was my biggest breakthrough last week. This is a big insight I just had. This is, a key win that I had. And here's why that was a key win in the past week. And so being able to conduct this type of connection and brotherhood and tribe, which enables us to operate at a higher level, because like statistics and data show, you become the same as the 5 people you spend the most time with. And so if you're hanging out or spending time with guys that are not operating at the standards, with the performance, with the level that you desire to operate at, then brother, you're not going to make it. And I've seen this in running units. So inside Rising Kings, we not just have the brotherhood, we have our individual units, like smaller units of men that are very similar in a certain way, and they come together with a unit leader. But the power I want to get across here is that we all fall to the lowest common denominator. And so if we tolerate low standards of a man, then the rest of us will fall down to that lower level. Because there comes the conversation, which I hear all the time, which is like, well, why am I doing the work? They're not fucking doing the work, and he's not doing the work. And then, you hear all these things outside Rising Kings around how, well, why isn't neighborhood, the guy down the road? Why is his standards allowed to be low? Why is he allowed to drink 6 beers every fucking night? Why is he allowed to do all this sort of stuff? And it's not whether they're allowed to or not. It's what are you willing to accept in your life, in your world? And I think it's a really good opportunity as we come into the end of 2025 to really think about, who are you spending your time with, brother? Who are the men in your world that you spend a lot of time with? And how are they operating? And are they holding you accountable? And are they inspiring you? Are they lifting you to push you outside your comfort zone to be a better version of yourself? Or are we all coming down and just playing the same low common denominator game that I see happening in society today? And it's not about judgment. I'm not here to judge you or the people you hang out with. I just know where I fire at my best. And that's with brothers that we have here inside Rising Kings who do operate at a higher standard. Like, I've had 15 conversations in the last 7 days with brothers inside. And every single one of them has been deep, meaningful, inspiring, and growth driven. And so we may have been looking at a symptom of a problem in one's life, and at the same time, rather than wallowing in it, it's like, well, what are we doing about it? And then asking the hard questions. Well, what does it look like if you did this or did that? And how are you going to change those parts? And what's your role in all of this? And I think it's just a very important piece for you brothers to think about as you go on this journey. Because, man, I see the market flooded with a lot of, hey, join my group, join my community, be part of this, be part of that, I can help you, etc. And again, I'm not dismissing that any of them work or don't work. That's not for me to judge. All I'm saying is, like, who are the type of people you need to be surrounding yourself with? Because it's not just who's got the best fucking roadmap and pathway and systems and processes. Yes, they help. However, if you're not surrounded with the right people, if you're not surrounded with the right type of elevated men, dude, you're not going to change. You're not going to get wherever it is you want to get. And for the guys I work with, we want better. We want better performance. We want more purpose. We want to be more productive. We want to be more connected. We want to perform at a higher level physically, mentally, emotionally, professionally. And so we have to be pretty adamant with the type of people that we allow into Rising Kings to ensure that the standards are met, that we stay playing that upper echelon. So I trust that serves you, brother, as we come into 2025. It's a good opportunity, just a quick audit. Who do you spend your time with, man? How's that working out? Are you with the right people or are you with the comfortable people? And then before jumping in with another group or tribe or community, do yourself a favor and just investigate it a little bit. Sit on the sidelines, have a look at the other type of people that are in there. See what, look at testimonials that people put up about their programs. Like, have a look at the caliber of man that is displayed in that. And ask yourself the question, is that my guy? Is that the dude I want to be with around? Is that the guy I want to grow with, expand with? And if it is, all in, bro. But if it's not, got to keep looking, do the research. Don't just rush into these things. Like I said, 10 years ago, man, I must have tried 20 to 25 different men's programs, and none of them stuck. And it had nothing to do with the guy who was running them. It had all to do with the community, with the tribe, with the brotherhood that he had built around it that just weren't operating at the level I desired to operate at. And so I'll leave you with that, brother. Have an awesome week. Look forward to speaking to you next week. Stay strong.